Hello. How's everybody doing today? If you guys can hear me loud and clear, let me know in the chat. I had my audio messed up. I was definitely just talking to myself. So if you guys could help me out and let me know that I'm actually speaking with everybody here and I'm not just talking to myself in the corner, that would be fantastic. Screen is not showing yet. Will be in just a second. All right, fantastic. That tripped me out for a second. So I use crisp.ai, which I highly recommend. But for some reason it didn't work when I went to use it just now. Probably need to do an update. But crisp.ai removes all your background noise, great little tool. But I had my audio set for that, and I could see that there was like no green bar, and I was just sitting here talking with myself. So perfect, good stuff. Glad to have each and every one of you guys here today. Alex is just joining me. He was having a little technical snafus with GoToWebinar as well. For some reason, his link didn't work, but I can see now he's on here. He's got his screen shared. Hey, Alex, good to see you, buddy.
Hey, Joe. Hi, guys. I'm here.
All right, good stuff. So excited for today. How many of you guys, I'm curious, give me a 1 if this is your first time being on one of these calls. Give me a 2 if you've been on one before. Just help understand who's on these calls. Obviously, we've only had one other one of these calls so far. All right, so about 50-50. So really at the end of the day, let me set the stage real quick. It'll go fast, but how these calls work is simple. You know, Alex and I have to review these feature requests to make sure that we understand them, but we also want to review them with you to make sure that we really understand the use case and that it solves the problem, or it solves the use case that you guys are really going after, so that we build things correctly, right? We've all been subscribers of applications and platforms where you know, we put in requests for features and they never get done. We've all been a part of platforms as well that, like, you put in requests for features that you're trying to get an outcome, and they say that they did it, but it doesn't actually really achieve the outcome. So at the end of the day, this is really simple. This call is every 2 weeks. We're going to run through your guys' feature requests, and we're going to talk about the top voted ones and the ones that we need help with, we need clarity on, and that we need your feedback for. And you guys are going to help us really decide the future of the platform and where we go with ReviewGrower. So kind of the rules are simple, right? Like if you got a feature that you want, go put them in as a feature request. Those feature requests then are looked at and gone through and implemented in a specific type of way. And really what we're looking for is feedback from you guys as customers saying yes by showing votes that these are important, and that we also understand the scope, and it's where we're trying to go as a company, right? And that it's not a completely separate application, right? That it really belongs inside of ReviewGrower. So I hope that makes sense. So before we get kicked off and before we jump into the roadmap specifically, I just want to give some major props. Alex, man, you have been absolutely freaking crushing it with all of these updates. If you go to the little live section, Alex, if you could just scroll down, man, holy cow. I mean, we got to be, I don't even know what the count is now, but just since launch, we have pushed out so many feature requests. Honestly, I've never seen anybody crush it out quite like you are. So congrats, man. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate the words.
And guys, I'm sure Alex would super appreciate any feedback that you guys have for him as well. I know when we've been sending out the updates in our weekly kind of emails when we send them out, that people have been freaking out and giving Alex lots of love. We really appreciate that. And we're really, really excited with the platform and where it is that we are going. Matthew Torres says, Alex is the man. Appreciate it, brother. All right.
Thank you, man.
Alex, I think we need to talk about the elephant in the room real quick. I think we need to talk about the next 2 weeks and what we've committed to doing. And then I think that after that, we can jump in and go through the feature requests like we normally do. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Perfect. All right. So guys, elephant in the room. So like by far, the number one thing that we hear in support, by far the number one thing that we hear from you guys on webinars and on these calls is two things. One is the white label billing module for you guys that we said we'd get out in June at some point, as long as that was a priority for you guys. It definitely seems, that straight billing task over there under planned, like it's a priority. The upvotes, I don't think quite show that it's a huge priority for you guys, right? Because there's only 7, but we hear it in support all the time. On our promotions webinar all the time, it's a big thing. So we are committing to rolling out over the next coming weeks. We're going to be prioritizing the Stripe billing for you guys. So you guys will be able to set up plans, you guys will be able to plug in your Stripe account, and you guys will be able to bill your users or continue using the platform like you are and not, right, bill them, right? Bill them outside, give it away for free, or handle that, right, not inside the application. You guys will have both options. So that is the first kind of set of new priorities that we're going to be working on. And the second is a big one, and it's really a massive one. But the second one is getting in more review sites, right? Checking more review sites. So, Alex, do you have any idea how many total review sites it is that's kind of in the spec?
I think the spec has around 80.
Okay. So guys, you can imagine that is a big job. What you guys don't know is that behind the scenes, we've been working on these things already because we know that they are super, super important to you, right? So white label billing and adding more review sites. To be honest, if I can and transparent with you guys, the second one there scares me. You guys have any idea why that second one scares me? That 80 frickin' review sites. Hey, Nishit, if your white label's not working, hit up live chat, man. We're happy to help you. Yeah, API costs. Yeah, the cost to go get those and the cost to maintain those. Really, and it's more about the cost that we're going to incur. And to be honest, I was really scared just from a cost perspective about what that would mean. And so I've been digging in behind the scenes to figure out how to make this a reality. How do we make this a reality without charging you guys more money? So let me get some feedback from you guys. If we could add a total of, it's right around 80 review sites for you guys to use on your white label across all your clients, and we would not, here's the kicker, and we would not charge you any more money. Would that be like the biggest win ever? Or are you guys like, I'm not really interested? Let me know, because this is a mammoth and we've been working on it. A lot of the integrations are, partially completed or completed. We just haven't pushed everything live yet. So please do me a favor, like give me some feedback in the chat, because this is a big to do, but it's also, if it's important to you guys, it can be quite literally like right around the freaking corner. Thomas says, I would charge extra for the ones that cost you, like some special sites, etc. So thank you for that. I think that we may have to do that in the future, right? Like we may have to say, like this one is just costing too much. They're too much of a, they're too pricey. But I think what we can do is I think we figured out a way to include all of them, at least for now. I think that we figured out a way that we can include all of them and not charge you guys more. We'll have to keep an eye on cost, but if one of them surges, Thomas, like you said, and one of them is accounting for like, 80% of our API costs, then obviously we'll have to look at changing that to an add-on. So so guys, that is the foreseeable next, let's say 2 to 3 weeks is really knocking out Stripe billing and adding these 80, roughly 80 review sites will be at total. So let's say 70, what is that? 76 sites, 77 sites. This is going to be a mammoth edition for you guys. And so that's what's happening for, again, the next 2 to 3 weeks. So real quick, any questions on that before we move on? And then what we're going to do again is we're going to go through your guys' feature requests and talk about them, get from you guys what's important, and get some feedback. Last time that we did this call, you guys gave us some really good feedback that you guys see inside the application already, right? Like we took exactly what you guys needed, the tweaks that you guys asked for, and the features and the specs that you guys gave us on that call, and they're already live in the platform, and that's what we're going to move into, okay? But any specific questions on the Stripe billing module or the adding of these review sites, let me know in the chat real quick, and then we'll jump and kind of change directions. Nick says, can we get a list of the 80-ish review sites? Yeah, I think actually we have it somewhere. Yeah, I think on the documentation section somewhere. Yeah, Alex, if you go to on the screen help center or resources in the footer, or just reviewgrower.com/documentation. Somewhere in here.
Review sites, I think this is the one. Oh, it's a category.
There we go. Which review sites can we monitor in our dashboard?
Yeah, so this is the.
I'll throw this in the chat for everybody so that you guys have it. But Nick, this is what we're thinking, and this should cover like everything, man. If not, send us feedback for sure. Ricardo says, I'd rather push reviews to Google to tell you the truth. Yeah, so Ricardo, for me, being a Google organic, being a Google SEO guy, being Google Maps guy, and local where I really play, Google is number one for me. Facebook and Yelp is really like 2 and 3 for me. But then for each, and I don't think that there's value in adding 80 review sites for every client. Like that's not what you should be doing. So I think you got the top 3, and those are really for most niches, right? Like those, at least for like most local businesses, those are going to be the top 3. And then there's going to be some niche specific ones, right, for every industry, right? And those are going to change from like home services to medical to travel, etc. Right? And so really, I think at most, like you should be at maybe for one potential client, you should have integrated maybe 5 or 6 review sites. And those are the ones that are important, that matter, and that you should be actually watching. But yeah, man, completely agree with you. Nishit, definitely open to feedback on having UK websites. Let us know what's important to you, brother. Will those additional sites have the same reporting as Facebook, Google, and Yelp's? Sure will, Fred. So you'll be able to, so right now already, well, Alex, is that live? Putting any review in the review funnel, any review site in the review funnel?
Yes, that's live.
So right now, you can add any link to any site to get reviews, right, in your review funnel. So that's already done. So what we're talking about right now is really like for on the dashboard being able to monitor those. So you see the reviews. So I hope that makes sense. Hey, Julian. Julian says, to me, the Stripe integration is the most important because it helps us grow our revenue. Completely understood, man. That's why it's a big priority for us. We'll get working on it right away. Can't wait for the billing to come live. Thanks to shit. Nick says, awesome, looks great, thank you. Also, Nishit says, thanks, I agree. You should have maybe about 10 or so review sites total for each client to monitor. All right, good stuff, good stuff. All right, perfect. All right, so let's jump right in, Alex. Thanks for bearing with me as we got some of the house cleaning out of the way.
For sure. All right, so the roadmap. Currently, we have one item still in progress, and this is the external links on review request page. I have actually been talking with Sandy, was the requester, and we decided we're going to add an option in the review funnel. When you click on the smiley face or the front face, you can add an external link instead of it showing the direct links to the website, to the listing pages, or the feedback form. And I was just gonna ask if anybody has any other ideas about this, if we should do anything else with it, or does that sound straightforward?
Let's see. So somebody was just asking for this in the chat, I think, as well. Let's see. So like Julian. So Julian Alexander says in the chat, is the customer side review posting funnel automatic in posting the reviews to say Google to Avo to BBB to, I'm not sure exactly what you mean actually after reading it. Julian, let me get some clarity. Are you asking to automatically send people, right, when we send the emails or SMSs to the site of your choice without going through the review gating and without having to click on which site they want to do it? Is that what you're asking, Julian? Because I think that's what Sandy potentially is asking for too, right? What do you think, Alex?
After I've been talking with her, we came up with a very simple setting that you would say, what should happen when you click the smiley or frowny face?
Yep.
Either do what it does now or open a link. That's it.
Yep. Gotcha. So, so basically the options are, if you click smiley, either go to the page that has the list of sites to review, right, or that we want reviews on and asks for it, or we could have it go directly to a review site.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and I think that's what you're saying as well, Julian, right? Does that help your spec buddy? Would that be helpful? Anybody else? Any edits to this or changes before Alex knocks it out? Glad we got on the same page. Sounds clear. Okay. Yeah, Alex, I think we got that. Good to go.
Cool. Jumping on to the next one. The webhook for local recon. I think this makes sense, but I wasn't sure where actually to put this.
Okay. So the way that we have, thinking this through, right? The way that the webhooks work currently, this would be a different webhook, right? So webhooks actually push contacts into ReviewGrower. Now we're talking about inside of local recon, specifically for agencies, when they get a lead or a new report is requested, right, that it pushes the data out, right, into a CRM of some type or whatever they want. They could, put it into their email service provider. They could send it over to Go High Level. They could have it through Zapier, send them an SMS saying that somebody just filled it out, right? Like options are limitless. So I think that this would go inside the local recon settings somewhere. would be my initial thought.
Okay, let me open that up so we can go through it.
I'm doing it as well, just opening up another browser. Sorry, that's why I was talking a little slow.
No worries.
So yeah, if you log in as an agency, you're on the agency dashboard, you go to local recon.
So somewhere in here, maybe at the top right of the page, we could add either a settings button or integrations, and then we could say implement a webhook, and then add the URL, and then connect the fields to the webhook. If it's a new lead,
Yep.
we had a way to match the fields, like the first name goes to this, the last name goes to this, and so on.
Yep. I think that would be great. I think that ultimately we probably want to default to sending like the entire payload, Alex. And in that payload, including the widget name that it went through, right? And also the type of report, as well as all the leads details, right, that they got on the opt-in. And then whether it was, so there's two types of like opt-ins, right? There's the opt-in and then the second one for like help. I think we need to send or specify which it is. So for those of you guys that are new to like the term payload, payload means like what are the fields, what data do you pass? So I'd like to set it up so that we pass all the data. So then on your end, you can decide what you want to use, right? Otherwise, you're going to have to like match fields and it gets complex really fast. I found that like if you just send all the data in the webhook, that then like on your guys' side, you can handle it however you want. But if you have all the data, it's just easier. Otherwise, like you're saying on one side, I need name, email, widget, the report type, and the URL that they got of the report. And then on your side, you got to go match all those fields. If you just say inside of ReviewGrower, send me the entire payload, right? You grab your webhook URL that you're going to send it to, you put that in ReviewGrower and you hit test. And Alex, we definitely need like the same testing capabilities like our other webhook. Inside of, let's say you're using Zapier, then you'll be able to say, all right, great, these are all my fields, and here's what I want to do with it. I want to send it to this place, and then here's where to put it. Like, here are the fields to match to. Does that sound good to everybody? Any suggestions or edits based upon that?
I guess I have one more question about this. Should a user be able to add multiple webhooks or just one? Would it make sense to be able to add multiple?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could add multiple, but I think that ultimately most people are probably going to be able to get away with just having one, right? Like, because we're sending the entire payload. But I think the ability to have more than one, and obviously that means we have to have like full CRUD, create, edit, reuse, delete functionality in there is going to be important.
Right. Okay. Should we move to the next one?
Yeah.
Team member login. I know this has been here as planned for a long time. And I was reading this message from Dan lately, and he suggested also adding rights management for users, no access to billing, so that which clients can access, etc. But that's the thing. What's the etc.? What kind of roles and permissions should we add? It could be a list of different roles that have a set of permissions, and then you would also be able to choose permissions by enabling or disable a specific permission.
So I think for me, there's a couple important distinctions, and then everybody, I'd love your feedback. I think that there needs to be the ability for you to add users as like an administrator, like add agency level users. And you have to also be able to add like business level users. I think that's the first distinction that's like not there, right? So what do I mean by that? Like, you know, if I'm running ReviewGrower and I have, you know, 2 VAs on my team as an agency that help me, I want to be able to add them, right? And then I also need to be able to add users to different businesses. So I think that's the first distinction that we need to add is like what type of user is it, right? Is it an agency level user or is it a business level user? And I think those are the two distinctions.
Yes, so we actually have that as another roadmap item, team members at business level.
Yep.
So we definitely need to add both agency users and then business users. But then, for example, let's say I'm in the agency here, we have a menu item users, we add users. We could enable or disable specific sections like be able to only read businesses or be able to add businesses. That's what I'm talking. We could expand the list very long, and I was going to ask what should that list be? The list of roles like manager, like administrator, super admin, and then the list of permissions. What can they do? Either edit, add, or delete, or just read only.
Yep. I think to start that, like the most important thing is that we can create business level users and we can create agency level users, right? On business level users, I think we should have the option for them to basically have like edit access and read only access.
Okay.
Right. And then for agency, I think the same thing, right? Read only or edit access. And I think if we did that, like that's the way to get it done like very quickly. And then we can see what kind of other permissions issues we run into. But I'm thinking like, oh, if I'm going to send out a report or a client asks something, like I need a general VA to be able to go in. I don't want to give them edit access though, right? So I need them to just be able to view only, be able to answer questions, right? But then somebody like Ryan on the team, right? Another VA, like he's more capable, he's more trainable, he's more sophisticated, like he should have full access. So when somebody needs something that requires editing, that he can do it. Would that solve most use cases for you guys, or you think there's another simple way to get us some more capabilities without going down a crazy rabbit hole? Dan, especially Dan, I know that you added one of these feature requests, and I think you commented on the other one. Would love your feedback. All right, yep, okay, that should be good to go, Alex.
Okay,
that should
awesome.
make Spec a lot easier to implement, and that'll mean we can ship it out to you guys a whole lot faster.
Yeah, that's why I was going to say the way you laid it out will definitely make it a lot faster to be implemented. So that's a big win. And then team members business level, we covered this as well.
Yep.
additional notifications for reviews.
Yep.
For this, I was thinking on the get reviews page, we have a notifications. Oh no, sorry, not on the get reviews page. On the reviews page, we have a notifications settings page, and you would be able to add a list of email addresses, or after we implement the team member login, you could
Yep.
add specific team members to be added. And I think that's pretty much it to this.
Yeah, I think so. I guess the question for me is, I think so. Sandy's saying like there's other people in the business besides like the business owner that has the account that should be getting notifications when a review comes in, so that they can do something with it, right? Like that's her use case, and I think that like we solve that with the sub users, right? My concern is there any other use case, right, besides that for notifications where we would need to break out and create a different section, right, where you would just send notifications and not create a user? And I don't really think so, right? I think that anybody that you'd want looking at notifications would be a user inside the platform. So I think that that really takes care of it. I do think, though, that on the user level, Alex, we should probably put in some controls for the notifications, like which ones are they getting?
Right.
And be able to turn them on or off.
Okay, so now that you brought that up, I think when a user logs in, they should have their own notifications page where they can enable or disable.
I think if we put it on the user's profile, right?
Yep.
That they could toggle their notifications on or off, right? So
Right.
if somebody doesn't want to get the emails, right? They don't have to, but they can still log in and use the platform.
Yeah, that makes more sense. And I think the business account, the business administrator should only be able to add specific email addresses. And then if there are sub-users, they can enable or disable the notifications by themselves.
Yep, that sounds great. You want to make a note of that?
Yep.
Perfect. I'll go through some of the questions in here while you're doing that. Perfect. Thomas says, yep, that would be perfect. Thank you, Thomas, for the feedback. I appreciate it. Nishit, I see your question about local recon. I'll answer it, just not right now, as we're going through the requests. I'll make sure there's time at the end to go through it. I think Alex, in the notifications, we probably need some options too for like positive, like breaking out positive and negative reviews, right? Like if you get a negative review, you probably want an email right away. You should probably be able to configure that, right? If you get for every review though, you probably don't want a notification. But we should have some configurable options, and we should make sure that they're, you know, configurable based on positive or not positive.
Right. The thing is, the way it's set up now, it only sends an email every 7 days when it fetches more reviews. We don't have a way to send a notification immediately, so we would have to expand that.
Yep.
And
Okay.
I'm thinking if that should be another roadmap item or included in here.
I would say let's make it another roadmap item just so it's clear and so that doesn't stop us from shipping this.
Yeah, I think that makes more sense.
Perfect. Matthew Torres just confirmed that that would be super helpful. All right, perfect. Tom Simon. So Tom says, Tom asked a question earlier and I just didn't quite understand and asked him for some more feedback. He said he's looking for some documentation that he can give to clients that is white labeled. I'm having to create all my documentation. So understand your request. I'm not sure how we'd handle that, like how we could help you with that. Like my big concern right now, Tom, is just the core app doesn't really change, right? So there's some fundamentals there that are like the same. And so if you look at, actually, maybe this is how we do it. If you look at the getting started guide for the agency, right? You could probably take that and get rid of, and that's in the documentation section. You could get rid of all the white label like setup stuff. And the rest of it is a guide to getting started for anybody, right? Let me share that with you. I think like that would probably help, like, and that could probably be white labeled pretty easily. Let me see if that helps. I've been thinking about this too, so thanks for bringing this up, Tom. Where is that? White label getting started guide. Alex, I'm going to take the screen for just 1 second.
Okay, no worries.
Change presenter. So Tom, you see this white label getting started? We send this to you guys whenever you come on board, and we also send a message inside with the chat bubble inside your agency account to this document. And this is the getting started guide for white label. But when you look at the top, right, like first with all the white label settings, right? So like setting up your Twilio account, your domain, putting in your email, you know, all that stuff is first, and that's a lot. But then at the end, is, so starting at step 5, these could all be white labeled, right? And you could take the contents out. You just need to change like the images because it's going to have your logo, etc. But all of this is basically adding your review profiles, getting your widgets set up, like, well, I guess some of this is still CSS. Yeah, I'm not sure, actually, Tom. I thought this would be a good place for you, but most of this is not business level. So to rethink this, what you'd want for a client is go add your review profiles, right? Then go set up your review funnel. Then add contacts and come up with a way that you're going to consistently add contacts in your business. And then step 4, go create your widgets and have somebody on your team, you know, add them to your website. Tom, do you think like that's a good, you know, 4-step kind of process that we could white label? What do you think, man? Does that solve it? You've been obviously dealing with this, trying to figure out how you're going to do documentation for your clients. Okay, so Tom says he created docs for all of the tabs. So Tom, what do your docs say? Like on the dashboard, is it just kind of a written like tooltip almost, right? Where we could put in something on this page where you could put in some text and it would explain what the page is? Or what's in your documentation? I'd love to figure out how to do this, honestly, Tom. I just haven't figured out how to do it in a white labeled way because the UI changes, right? The design changes is the main conflict. The other one is obviously we keep adding more, so we got more pages to document. Any thoughts you guys have on that? I would love to chat with you guys with. I think that'd be a killer. Anything that we can help support you guys with in terms of like onboarding support for your clients that are SaaS, that are self-serve, or that are interested in using the platform, I'm all about, give me any examples you guys have, etc. And we'll try to figure out how to make it happen. That's interesting. So it's almost like, yeah, like tooltips, Tom. Thank you for that example. Let me think about that, okay? And you guys do as well. Any feedback you have, please do let me know. Alex, I'll pass it back to you. Thank you for the conversation. That was good. Gave me some ideas.
Okay. Okay, we have this next item, Drip bulk email and SMS requests. Program that we can send X number of requests per day. Google is cracking down on businesses adding too many reviews quickly. For this, I was thinking, since we have the auto invite feature here, besides being able to come in here and click invite on a specific contact, when this is enabled, we would have some extra options like, do you want to drip bulk send them or just send them as soon as they're added? And if you click yes, then you could say send a maximum of 10, start a maximum of 10 campaigns per day or something like that. What do you think?
I think it's a good feature. I don't like, I like the idea of it, adding in a drip, but like at the end of the day, I don't see that actually happening with Google these days, right? I don't see that Google's cracking down on, let's call it number of reviews that you're getting, or like adding too many reviews too quickly, right?
Okay.
In all honesty, what I do see Google doing is doing a really bad job of even keeping up with spam, right? I see people that are blatantly incentivizing for reviews and gaining, thousands of reviews, like literally in days, right? And then not doing anything. I see people still like paying for reviews and not doing it. So I like the feature. I think it's like a neat thing, but I don't know how practical it is. I'm curious to you guys, like, is this important? Could you just give me like a yes or a no? Hey, Paul, yes, this will be recorded. No worries if you got to jump, buddy. Is this important? Let us know, please. Like, to me, I don't think we need to do this. I think it's a cool thing, but I don't see how it adds any value to us or any of our businesses, right? And if we're concerned about like warming up an email account, like then we just add the contacts in a little slower, right? Like we start with just active clients and putting them in as they come through the door for a client. We don't go through their whole database the first week, right? So I don't think that this is important personally. I think it's sexy in other ways. Like if we were doing cold email outreach and we were like scraping lists of like, 10,000 people, then yeah, like we need a drip, but I don't see it in this case.
Okay. So I'm thinking if we should just close it or keep it open for a while and see if we want to come back to it later.
Yeah, if you send me that URL, Alex, or send it to me after the webinar, I'll write a response.
Yeah.
And if there's a different use case or he's got proof, I want to see it, right? Like I just don't think, I don't see that happening in the industry.
Okay, cool. I think this one is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, we need this for sure.
Actually, I've been seeing this on many websites too, and I was actually thinking, should we add this? So we're gonna have, besides the embed and the hover widgets, we're gonna have another option, another style with rotating reviews.
Yep.
And they will just show up on the left, at the bottom, or at the right, and it will show a review at a time. And maybe a number of seconds, delay to rotate them.
Yep, for sure we should. Trying to pull up the example that he gave us, Shack.net. I think, we should definitely build it so it uses the same, editor as we have, and we should have a couple of styles in there for everybody. But I completely use the same configuration like wizard that's in there, and styling options and filters, and just add maybe 2 or 3 styles that you really like.
Yep. Okay. Report download. This is also pretty straightforward. So on the reputation report in local Recon, we're going to add a button to download the PDF of the report.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good one. That definitely got overlooked when we pushed it live. I know we were in such a rush to get the website audit done before we went live to give everybody another bonus.
Yeah. I'm going to go through these, by the way, after we're done, and I'm going to add some more into the planned or in progress section.
Perfect. Let's make sure that we put the, like we talked about at the beginning, we put in all the review sites in planned, and also the, I guess, straight billing. When we start working on that, we'll put it in progress for everybody so they know.
I actually haven't got a chance to check this one. It looks like a pretty long message.
So basically, this is like send review requests through other apps, right? So like use ActiveCampaign. So make a webhook. Honestly, I don't understand why we would do this. So on-demand postcard via Zap. So that's cool. Lob. Text requests, text message, landlines. I mean, we could add landline texting. What do you guys think about this one? Give me some feedback. I'm not sure.
Yeah, me neither.
So we got a question, how do we prevent a business from getting a negative review, right? We use the ReviewGate option, right, to try to collect the feedback and address it right away when it comes in. right? So that they don't leave a negative review. We try to stop it, and then we get the customer to try to fix it, right? Before they leave a negative review. If they leave a negative review, we're going to do our best to reach out and to, satisfy their problem so that we can ask them to take it down. Hope that helps.
I think this is one of those items where we should be doing more planning and come back to it later, because it's hard to make a decision right now.
Yeah, I would say that I see the use case for text request, for example, like, or what that would provide, like the business landline via Zap, or for Lob for the postcard. I like that, but I don't see any other use cases. So maybe just saying, we reviewed this on the call, but nobody had a positive yes or no, or nobody had a definitive yes or no. But we do see use cases for these two things.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Next one, local Recon custom HTML. The audits and widgets are pretty static, so it would be cool to add custom HTML.
We should definitely do this.
I think a WYSIWYG would make more sense, because it would allow to add anything instead of coming with the different sections where you could embed an HTML. You could have the WYSIWYG, and then you can customize it whatever you want. We're actually already storing the widget as HTML, so that it's already being stored. It would be easy to just do a WYSIWYG, and that would be it.
Yeah, I mean, if we did WYSIWYG, then we'd also have HTML in there, right? You could hit the HTML version, right, and put in HTML.
Yeah, exactly. So you have the option.
WYSIWYG is probably the best way, because we get both in one update, right? People that know HTML could go in and could just put in their own. So that gives them like ultimate flexibility and customization. People that don't, like, I'm not great with HTML. I know enough to edit it, to make a couple of tweaks, to change something here or there, but that's about it.
The only thing that I'm concerned about is, for example, when you search for a business, that the search field needs to be connected to the Google widget that finds and displays the businesses, and it needs to have a specific ID. It has to be a special field.
What if you just stored that as like a token or something like that, right? So that you mess it up, right? So when I'm configuring it, it's kind of dummy proof, and it won't let me get rid of that, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Use a token for the search field, or for the domain field in case of the SEO audit report. Okay, next one is multiple languages. I think we talked about this, and it's not something that we...
I don't know how to do it easily to actually support it, right? Like, and we don't know, you and I both don't know a bunch of different languages. So I feel like the way to do this, and I don't know how we do it code-wise, but Alex, you know how like we identify things with like CSS selectors?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what if there was a way that where we could spot, like, all right, great. So the navigation is dashboard, businesses, help, sales, resources, agency settings, local recon, and log out. If somehow you could like select those, right, and change that out in an easy fashion, right? And this would have to be user driven because again, we don't know these other languages. We couldn't, we can't control that. Does that
Yeah,
make
I
sense?
think if we just make that all editable, I think that should be good enough. And I remember talking to Dan, and he said as long as he can edit the emails, the SMS, the review funnel, and make that in Romanian, he said that would be enough. But making the platform editable like that, I think that should be more than enough.
I think that Go High Level does something like this. Like you can customize the navigation somehow. I think you can even add new navigation items. Anybody know if that's true, or did I just lie? Any GHL experts on here that might be able to show us or tell us how they do it? Fred says, yeah, that's true. Let's make a note to see how GHL does this and that we think it does it. And if there is an easy way to let users change like navigation items or labels, right? That we would, do it if it was a feature that people were really interested in. Matthew Torres says, yeah, adding a new navigation menu item would be awesome. Yeah, I'd love for you guys to be able to like add a new navigation item and then like in an iframe pull in like your support docs or something, like would be really cool.
What was the last part? Add the navigation item.
Yeah, so GHL gives you a way to add like navigation items, and then like I think they can like be iframes, then like the page contents can be, or HTML. I'm not sure if there's any other options there, but like that would potentially allow somebody to put in like their own training center, right? Like for link to other apps or documentation, or could really open up a lot of potentials.
Okay, that sounds good.
Dan says, yeah, I vote for the front end elements, being done on the front end versus the back end, right? Users being able to do that. If we can do that and give you guys the power to do it, I'd love to, right? I don't want to do the translation and then like the dialect's wrong or the translation's wrong. Like that would be a huge chore for us and take us a long time to do and maintain. I'd rather give you guys the control to do it if it's important to you because you'll get it right, and we can keep shipping new features for you. Perfect. All right, Alex.
Cool. So we got a simple one here. Add the ability to disable the sign up link. I think actually Matthew added it separately here. Yeah, so it's the same request.
Definitely.
Okay, we'll get this done.
So Matthew, I think I think that this was like full transparency, guys. And I told you guys, I think on the last call, the white label billing module was basically like done, but it hadn't been tested. It hadn't been gone through really thoroughly when we launched, and we didn't want to push it live, right? We were concerned about it. We wanted to make sure we had more time to review it and really go through it. And so I think that was, Matthew, that was a really good catch. Thank you.
Next, we have the shorten the link in SMS. I know Sandy also kept asking me on the chat when this is going to be done because she really wants to push some SMS soon, and the link.
How long is that? How long is the URL?
Oh, it's pretty long now because it, for example, this is a ReviewGrower subdomain, but here you would have your domain.com and then your review funnel and then / invite code and then some number, something like that.
So can't we just So like when we use review.me, it's pretty short, right? Because it goes directly to that question mark I equals, doesn't it?
Yeah. So we could do rev.me and then a short code like that.
Yeah.
Something random and
Or
unique.
if you did question mark I equals or whatever you said, right? If there was a query string right there, then we could do the same thing on the white label, right? And you'd know when the URL was coming in that it was
Yeah,
that.
that would work too.
So you want to make a comment there on what that means? That would definitely be easy for us to get in as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect, good stuff.
Yeah, that actually makes sense because the invite string is already unique in our system.
Tom says he's not a fan of review.me. It sounds like, it doesn't look like review. It sounds more like ragu. Hey man, that's why we give you the option to white label your own link. Most of the short links that I see out there for the review platforms are really garbage. They have nothing to do with review, right? And so we were trying to build more of a call to action into the URL and also keep it short. So not everybody's got to like it. You can white label, send your own link. I personally like the review me link, right? But hey man, to each their own. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, and this would be an option. It won't be sent automatically. You would be able to choose between
Yep.
short link or white label.
And then can't we shorten the white label link by also, right, just doing question mark I equals or whatever identifier you need there, Alex, and then the string.
Yeah, we can do that. So use the ravu.me domain and then add the query string that contains the invite code. I think that's the same thing, right?
Yep, and then be able to use the white label domain and query string that contains the invite code. You got it. The shit's saying, how do you delete a business from the account? I'm just seeing the top, we're a couple minutes past the top of the hour. So in businesses, right, in your agency dashboard, select the business, under actions, click delete. No problem, the shit, happy to help. Go ahead, Alex.
Bulk businesses ad. I was thinking for this we could do something similar to the contacts where you can click import and it would allow you to upload a CSV, and basically it would be the same thing as adding I will click add location because I'm in the business account, but it would have all these fields inside a CSV row and it would just add the business in the system.
So what's the use case though? Like what's the use case where like this is going to be much more efficient, right, as a CSV upload than as adding one by one?
Randy said you had mentioned the website reviews widget as a process.
We can just send them to a sign up URL. Right? Like why not just send the user to a sign up URL?
Yeah, I imagine this being useful if you have hundreds or thousands of businesses, but I don't think that is the case very often.
Ask him if that would solve it though, right? Instead of doing the other method.
Right.
Nick Wiley says he's transitioning clients from grade.us to ReviewGrower. Man, your wallet's got to be thanking you, brother. Your wallet's got to be helping, or got to be thanking you. Need any help with that, man? Let us know. He said, yes, sir.
That's cool. I guess the bulk business ad would help him.
Yeah, this might be helpful for you. I could see that for you moving, for example, from Grade.us or another platform to ReviewGrower and having a bunch of bulk stuff. But you're gonna have to put it in a Google Sheet or a CSV to move it all anyway. I don't know.
True, yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Alex. Oh, you're gonna respond there. Okay, let me jump in chat and see if there's anything else.
Okay, yeah, 1 second.
Can you remind me what local recon does? Yeah, so like local recon is sales enablement tools for you. So if you go into local recon and you go over to widgets, you can create widgets and edit widgets. And these are all things for you to use to generate leads. Like there's a reputation audit or a review audit that you can put on your website, right? There's an SEO audit, there's review calculators. They're resources for you to use that are sales enablement tools, right? Tools to get your prospects to raise their hand and to self-diagnose and say, hey, I could use some help with my reputation, with reviews, if that makes sense. Hopefully that clears up that question. Nick says, thanks, Joe. And Alex, you guys are crushing it. Thanks, brother. Super excited to have you on board, especially somebody that just switched platforms. Any feedback you have, please do let us know. Anything we can do for you. All right, Alex, you're good.
White label tutorial videos. Not sure what exactly we need to do here.
Yeah, so we just talked about this earlier today. Yeah, so with videos is going to be hard because the UI is customizable, right? So I think that's what we have to put. Like you put your own logo, you put your own CSS, you can make it look however you want. So that's difficult. What one user brought up though today, right, on the call, sorry, I forget who that was. It was really impactful, but we could do like some tool tips, right? We could explain what each thing is on each of the pages and potentially make those editable. Does that make sense, Alex?
Yeah.
I'm going to take the screen for 1 second while you're typing in there. Answer a question here that we got in the chat. So Julian was asking about a feature where you can do an overlay. So show you guys how this works. So if we go to any business and we go to widgets and we create a widget, we choose this really works on the hover widgets, right? And you'll see on any hover widget that there's this preview URL. So you can put any website you want in here. It doesn't work with everyone, with every website. Some websites like somehow disallow this and won't like load through the iframe, but it works for a lot. You can see what it would look like, right? It's down in the left-hand corner. You can see what it would look like on a prospect's website, right? So you could go set up your own, right, agency account with your own reviews, right, and have that as a business. Go into widgets and do what I just did, right? And let's say you just got done with a meeting where you met some prospects, right? You could then go into widgets, you could create a widget, you could go down to, you could go do the preview, right? You could do the preview for each of their sites, right? And then send them a message. Hey, saw you're not doing very good with social proof. Here's a stat, social proof increases conversions by 28%. or whatever, right? Use a statistic for social proof, and then show them a screenshot. And you got to use HTTP or HTTPS, and then you could show them a screenshot of this page, right? So I could then use the screenshot tool that I have, which is right here. Take a screenshot and outreach to them, Julian, and say this is what it would look like, right? Hope that helps, brother. We're having some people have really, really good success with this already. Tom says, sorry for dissing review.me. Hey man, like we all have our opinions. Like I didn't I didn't take it personally. All good, dude. All good. He said you guys rock. I misunderstood. Tom, dude, we're kosher, brother. Everybody's gonna have different opinions, bro. You don't like the domain, you can put in your own. I don't care, man. It's all good. To each their own. So yeah, you can overlay the review widget on a prospect site. It's just as a preview, right? It's really as a prospecting tool, or if you're talking with them and want to get approval before you put it on, right? You would do that. And again, you can change it to say whatever you want, right? Change the color scheme, and then you can run the preview. Alex, you got one more? You want to do one more before we shut it down?
Yep.
Just cognizant, it's a couple minutes past the top of the hour, and if we're not careful, you know, we could spend a day straight probably going through feature suggestions and ideas and where we want to take the tool. So just want to be super cognizant of everybody's time, keep these calls respectful and keep them fun so people keep showing up. As you guys can tell, these calls are definitely super impactful, right, to the platform and these features getting developed.
Okay, so this one, we actually talked about it earlier. You can select to receive a notification either when the review comes in or have a weekly summary. And then also only send it on negative reviews or all reviews or only positive. I already added a new roadmap item with all of that, and this will be included in that one.
Perfect.
And then I have another one we can talk about quickly, and this can be the last one. Adding a new tutorial number. So right now, you're only able to add your tutorial settings and then select a number, but we could add another option here, purchase new phone number, and you'd be able to select a country and then an area code and have a list of phone numbers that you can purchase and add them in.
You've done that a couple of times.
Yeah, I have.
How big of a deal do you think that feature is? Is that pretty easy?
Yeah, that's easy. It's not a big deal.
Perfect. Well, let's definitely consider doing that one. We'll see what everybody says.
Cool.
All right, brother. While you're typing in there, I'll take the screen real quick. I'm going to answer one more question, and then we'll be done. So Nishit is asking how to use local recon. So real quick, I'll give you a quick run through. It is pretty simple. So I need to make myself the presenter. Share screen 2. All right, great. So like once you log into ReviewGrower, right, you're going to be on the agency dashboard, right? And when you're on the agency dashboard, you're just going to go down to local recon. And again, these are all the sales enablement tools for you guys, right? And so that's why it's inside the agency dashboard, and it's a completely different section. And to be honest, it's really kind of like a completely separate application to begin with, right? So like when you go in local recon, you're going to see how many leads you've gotten, how many reports have been ran, how many different widgets or sales enablement tools you have, and you'll see what the widgets are. Here's your latest leads. Here's the reports that were ran for those leads, right? and you'll see, again, the latest reports down here as well, and kind of more of a different log, right? You'll see the business addresses, and you can see the reports and grab a report link as well. So to create a widget, you're going to go up in here under View All. So under Widgets, you're going to go to View All, and in here, you're going to create a widget. Okay, and you're going to see there's a bunch of different types of widgets, right? Here on the right is a preview of what the widget looks like. I know my screen is a little small, so forgive me if this kind of messes with the UI a little bit, but at least you guys can see it. So you guys are going to be able to create different widgets. If I were you guys, I would create one of every one of these widgets, and I would go put them on your website, and I would be looking to push my website visitors and traffic to it, be looking to do social posts to link to my website, right, to give away reputation reports, to give away SEO audits, to push them to the reputation revenue calculator or the star rating calculator, right? I just did a post on Google, or a blog post, for example. You guys could do something very similar. So if you Google Google 5-star rating calculator, right? Look what comes up on the first page here, right? And guess what this is? This is a local recon widget. Okay, so these are what I would call sales enablement tools. These are all waiting for you guys inside of local recon. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so that is local recon in a nutshell. You're going to have the same type of editing capabilities in here, right? To make this say what you want, right? To format it the way that you want. And there's all types of customization. And then everyone just has an embed code, right? So you're going to go embed this on your website. Got it. Thank you. You're very welcome to shit. Glad we got you taken care of, brother. And thank you, everybody, for joining this call. I super appreciate you guys all being here. Do me a favor. If you can see that these calls and you being here is important, and that this is literally like driving the future of the application, right? Like the last calls, a bunch of features are already done that were suggested last week, and you guys can see that happening live. Do me a favor, just give me a 2 in the chat. That would mean the world to us. Like when we launched ReviewGrower, you know, Alex and I were very clear like that this was going to be driven by you guys and your guys' wants and needs and your use cases, and that it was important to us that you guys, like for lack of a better term, bought into this and you showed up to these calls and you guys helped us on that front. Perfect. Thank you guys for the feedback. We really appreciate it. I hope you guys love the direction ReviewGrower is headed. We do. We are so freaking excited, and we can't wait until the next call. We'll see you soon, everybody. Alex, thank you so much, brother, for your time. Let's knock out some more updates for everybody.
Yep, thank you, and thanks everybody. See you soon.
See everybody. Have a freaking fantastic rest of your week. We'll talk to you guys soon. Yeah, Thomas, please do let me know, brother. Anything I can do on that front, please send it over in live chat so Alex and I can both see it. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. Well, enjoy your Friday and have a good weekend. Sayonara.
Thanks, you too.